Hi, I'm Cultural Ramamil. You can call me Cam. I wanted to make a video that talks about sort of what I want to read during the summer or before the summer ends. So basically, summer TBR. Firstly, I have to finish Beach Read. I think, yeah, I read about like 50%, and honestly, I don't really like it. It is a good book so far, but I really loved her Happy Place so much. So I thought it'll be a great book because it was her first book that made her just catapulted into the stardom that she has right now. So I thought it'll be amazing from the get-go, but it took me quite some time to get into the story and actually care about the characters. Now I care about these two characters, but so far still I like Happy Place more. But I hope I can finish this soon. And the second book that I want to read is Our Wives Under the Sea. I know it is a very dumb reason that I want to read this book because it says sea and water, and when I think of summer, it's all about those water. I know it is very bizarre reasons, but that's how I think, and it even has waves on the back cover. I know this is very dark and it is kind of psychedelic, like you don't know what really happened to your wife after this horrible sea experience. And it is a short book, and I think these days I'm not really into reading really thick, long, like 500, 600 pages. Although that can give you some fulfillment that you finished it, but these days I prefer short books, so I'm looking forward to it. Third book that I want to read this summer is Love and Virtue. I bought this in Sydney from Ariel Books. I was so excited to buy this book because this was the first book that I bought during my solo Sydney trip. It was such a fun trip. Anyways, the cover was beautiful, and it says like, yeah, it just got so many awards. So I was like, this must be so good. And when it first started, it says, in a basement bar on a university campus, a boy and a girl hold each other, their limbs loose with alcohol. I was like, okay, this looks like kind of loose cannonball youngsters getting through their life and feeling jealous about other people and stuff. So I was like, that's my jam. I'm gonna read this. And I'm very excited. The book that I'm going to talk about right now, I decided to read it because I saw a hyping video, which is Five Broken Blades. Author is American, but who was born in Korea and was adopted. So she used a lot of Korean cultural reference. So I'm very excited to see those references as a Korean. And I've also heard that this is basically adult version of Six of Crows. I'm such a huge fan of Six of Crows, so I'm so excited to read this book. I'm a little bit worried that it is a huge book for me. It's quite thick, and there will be the second book next year or this year later. I hope I like this book so I can jump into the next book as well. And the fifth book that I want to read is Queenie. It says a darkly comic and bitingly subversive take on life, love, race, and family. Great description. I love that kind of genre. I love that kind of plot. I love that kind of story. I just love to read not mainstream people going through their life, because sometimes I feel like I'm the outcaster. I have privilege as a person in the society. I have some privileges, but at the same time, I also feel like I'm very misfitting to the certain things, or I cannot really act like general people sometimes. So when a story talks about that kind of misfitting feeling or subversiveness of things, I just love to read those. The last book, which is kind of like my hopeful at this point, the last book that I want to read during this summer is Emma by Jane Austen. Classic of classic. Of course, I love this cover, and it has those like rough, like traditional, like cut edges, so it is so satisfying to touch. Yes, I am kind of obsessive with this kind of thing. Like, aesthetic is my jam. I really like that the design shows that Emma as a whole person and all those other characters are in her silhouette. You might have already watched the latest movie that stars Anya Taylor-Joy. I love that movie, so I already know how the story goes. So I think I'll have easier time to understand this because Old English is not my forte. I'm not native English speaker, so when it goes back back to old time for English, I have a hard time. I have to Google a lot of phrases. Wish me luck. So these are all the books that I want to read before this summer ends. Will I be able to do it? Will I be able to finish all this? I have no idea, but I'll try.